New year, new me, gonna learn few things. Tell Stephen King I finally have some hope again.
Happy fucking New Year, baby.
I finally have some hope. Finally have some hope. Have some hope.
How are you, David?
I'm great. It's another hot day in sunny California. It's been like almost 100 degrees most days this week. It's pretty wild.
Is it another lazy Sunday?
Right. Yeah. You know, I'm stoked the album came out yesterday and people are saying some nice things. So proud of it. And yeah, I appreciate you doing this interview thing.
Yeah, of course. For me, it's really cool to be able to talk to the people behind the albums that come out on the label. So I'm excited to talk to you and see what perspectives you have on everything. So let's get into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
So, Manic Year, how would you describe the project to a casual listener of music?
Yeah. So, like, usually I say literary hyperpop. And then to sort of like break that down, literary meaning I'm just like extremely overeducated and have been studying writing like my entire life. And so I get super into like double entendres and narrative lyrics and trying to be clever and fun, but also like, you know, strike chords and be emotionally relatable. And then the hyperpop aspect is just sort of like my ADHD like approach to producing, where I just want to dial everything up to 11. Like hyperpop as a genre for like it's interesting that there's people that still like haven't really heard that phrase when Charlie XCX is like winning Grammys and stuff. Yeah. And it's but I like to think of it as like you take all the elements of like what makes commercial pop what it is, and then just like lean into sort of the like, you know, diva aspect of some sort of character, but also like lots of tuning on the vocals, lots of, you know, like affecting it in a way where it's like you're not trying to simulate anything that like actually happens in the real world. It's like science fiction music. Is kind of how I like to conceptualize it. So
science fiction music, that sounds pretty funny, but also it makes a lot of sense. And as you're describing it, I can imagine the way that you tune, add effects, etc., to what you initially record is also as if it were another instrument per se. Is that how you see it too?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's fun that way because you can also impart meaning by pitching your voice up, you know? And so like, oh, this is like a really fun kind of summary line. Like I'll do this so it sound like a little, like a chipmunk or like, you know, like a teenage cheerleader girl. And like, it just like adds another, essentially like I think of myself as like many different characters. As these different voices kind of come in and out. And the vocal manipulation is one way I achieve that. Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm going to ask you more about the album sonically and the fact that you mentioned characters. I want to get back to that. Is that the same mic you have as me, the Shure SMB7?
Yeah. I love this mic.
Is that what you record with?
No. So for singing, I like to use the Warm Audio 8000. It's a clone of the Sony C800, which is like a $12,000 mic or something, but this one's less than 1,000, but has like this really, really nice brightness. Like I've actually described that it makes my voice sound the way that mineral water tastes. Like there's almost like a saltiness, like a effervescent sort of like, it just gets all the like raspiness and clicks and just like really kind of like it does me a lot of favors, honestly. This mic I find to be more dark and like it can take a beating. You can like scream into it and stuff. And but I like the Warm Audio 8000.
Uh-huh. Would you say if you did like another style of music, would you be using maybe a different mic?
Probably, yeah. I sometimes work with like some buddies as a pop punk band called 444. We use this mic a lot for kind of like, you know, vocal fry kind of punk singing.
Yeah.
But we've even done with that Warm Audio mic, and it can make some cool sounds even when you're like letting it rip into them. But so it's a more sensitive one, so you got to like give it a little more space and take a step back. But yeah, I think if I was recording like a hardcore band or like somebody that was just straight up, you know, like screaming, this would probably be the mic I went with.
Mm-hmm. Cool, makes sense. All right, so when you were describing like the project Manic Year, you said literary. What did you say?
Hyperpop, literary
Literary
hyperpop.
hyperpop. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you said you've studied like literature your whole life. So it's impossible that Manic Year doesn't have a deeper meaning to it. Where does the name come from?
Well, first of all, the pun is intended for like a manicure. That's just being fun. Also sort of like man I cure. There's a Lady Gaga song that makes that same pun that is actually a really good song. But yeah, I think it's originally the name sort of spawned from like me dealing with pretty intense like seasonal depression, like a seasonal affective disorder. I just get like I am a solar powered creature, and like when the days get short and cold and dark and people stay inside, I just sort of like emotionally hibernate. And I guess the, you know, not necessarily recommended way that I've sort of dealt with that before is just like, you know what, fuck it, I'd rather be manic than depressed, and so I'm just gonna like lean into this sort of like other side of me, and have kind of conceptualized the thought experiment of like, what if you did just like dedicate one life to only saying, like 1 year of your life to just like only saying yes, and just like go go go, and just like don't slow down. And then like, yeah, I think that's obviously a flawed approach, but like, you know, when the other option is stagnation, and I I think sometimes you can get out of a slump by just sort of a shock to your system, and throwing caution to the wind.
I think it's a respectable and understandable tool at the very least. And if that's a way to get out of the slump, then you can always fine tune and like correct the trajectory you're on once you're out of it. It might be harder to just stay in that slump and then just wait for something to fall out of the sky for you to get out of that. But at least, hey, I guess in California, the sun's out most of the time, right?
Yeah, that's one reason why I love it here. Yeah.
Are you originally from there?
Yeah. I am from like the suburbs, about 45 minutes east of San Francisco. And yeah, I've lived in different parts of California, spent some time like down south, LA, and Central Coast. I went for college, but mostly California my whole life, and been very fortunate to be kind of able to live here. So yeah, I like it a lot. Have you been?
I have never. It's always been on my list, especially since two of my favorite artists since I was a kid. Well, I've always loved the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That, you know, Anthony can't shut the fuck up.
Californication, baby.
Yeah. But then when I was starting uni, I discovered Tyler the Creator, and at least at the beginning, he really, really, I don't know, just where he was from was very connected to the art and music that he made. And so, you know, I even wanted to it even made me wonder more about, going there myself. Plus, I grew up loving, skate culture and stuff. So I've always wanted to visit, Venice Beach and just, see the iconic places that, in Europe, we see all this stuff in movies and stuff. And for me, I personally love to visit one day.
Yeah, well, hit me up. I lived in Venice Beach, like on the beach for a year.
Mm-hmm.
If ever there was a Manic Year, that was it. Because like that place is, yeah, it's everything that you've heard about it. It's just a never-ending circus of, characters and smells and noises. But yeah, I do think that's I'm inspired by people like Tyler who do put like where they're from in their music and their art and their image. And like growing up in the suburbs, like I always felt like this place was lame because there's no like graffiti or diversity or crime, and it's like, and like we would have to like take the bridge and the tunnel to San Francisco for the action. And like I have actually now kind of come to appreciate this for what it is, because like I don't know, maybe because I'm in my 30s now and it's just like really nice to be able to go to a store and there's just parking spaces. Whereas like in big cities, like that's just like a thing you got to consider. And I don't know, I just like the weather here. I like the nature, like the plants, the way they smell, especially this time of year, and like how it's just spaced out and quiet and safe and nice. And like the sketchiest person on my block is me. So there's something to be said for that, for kind of the I think it just like relaxes me. And so yeah, Pleasant Hill, California is like the actual town. And so like the album cover is me wearing a hat that says that, because I'm coming around on like, you know what, this is where I'm from. I shouldn't like, I should own it rather than like feel like shit, I wish I was from somewhere cooler,
Yeah. I think that's the quintessential human experience. You always grow up. I mean, the grass is always green on the other side, especially when you're younger. And then I'm also in my early 30s, and you come to realize you appreciate where you're from. You appreciate the things you took for granted much more. And then, I mean, also depending on how you grow up and who you are, you also appreciate more or less, I don't know, living in maybe having a quieter life or having a more boring life. Because I mean, having a parking space feels really, really good.
Yeah. And I guess there's one more thing I'll say about the suburbs before I let you go back to driving. But I also think that it's like something that I've come around on is just sort of an appreciation of like basic shit, like pop music. I think like a lot of people grow up or never get out of this phase of judging pop music. They like thinking it's shallow or just only commercial. And I don't know, I had like this moment where I was at a modern art museum in Denver, and one of the exhibits was just this video of and Andy Warhol, and he's just filming himself eating a McDonald's meal. I think maybe it's a Happy Meal or like a Big Mac or something, but he's just eating this very American, like very not artsy, not, intellectual or whatever. And then like, a soda. And it's just like, I think that is what art is now, is reflecting the world around us in a way that's like honest and, acknowledges some of these like absurdities of capitalism and brands and commercial, how much, and technology, and how much it's like infiltrated our lives and stuff. And so like, yeah, I think the suburbs in many ways represents that. Like it's, just a box for the masses to reside, and then, between work and then spending the money that they earn at work.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of art, let's get into your art. Let's talk about So 365, 365, 365 hangovers. How do you say it?
I like to say 365
Okay.
hangovers because yeah, I like the like I'm imagining every single day for a
Yeah.
year you wake up with a hangover. And so like it
Okay.
it sounds like a bigger number when you say 365.
Completely. And I think I'm going to ask you about it, but for me, it goes with the theme of the album for sure. So, could you explain to us what the album concept is?
Yeah, so I was super inspired by the whole like 12-minute format of like a 12-minute album. I as someone who likes novels and you know TV series and things and like I do miss like the format of the album in many ways. I have like a short attention span and I do like short 2-minute hyperpop songs. Um, but some like the idea of like an overarching narrative is like always been something that has been inspiring to me. And so when they said, yeah, like 12 minutes, um, and you can chop that into any duration of songs subdivisions, I was like, oh cool, I'll do 12 1-minute songs, which it was interesting to me that Dante was the guy I talked to initially, and he said that like no one's done that yet. And so I was like, sweet. And then Manic Year, which is also 12 months, I was like, okay, so I'll just name each one after a month of the year. It'll be sort of like this. I don't know. I also love kind of the Ouroboros like
Mm.
nature of things that sort of like go feed back into themselves and repeat. I think life is very much like has always felt like cycles to me of like revisiting stages and coming in and out of different vortexes. Um, and yeah, so it is a manic year. The 365 hangovers. There's 12 months, and each one is very informed by my own impression of the month, but also sort of like each month and its seasons, and but also I would say I think there is a progression. I think that there is sort of like a shift in the narrator on this
Mhm.
album.
And there definitely is sonically as well, because I mean, I always listen to the album first to take notes and see what I can ask, and then I listen to it again. Like a few times, there's at least a couple listens for pleasure, but then I also listen to it like to study it a bit. Towards the beginning, I immediately thought, oh well, hyperpop. I definitely get some Gex vibes in it, and I'm gonna ask him about that. Um, and I don't know, I wasn't really expecting the album to go that way in. I kind of was maybe late to realizing, oh shit, it's going through a year and it's evolving as well. And then I kind of found myself in a more kind of house and techno territory, and like more, but like a more traditional one. And I was like, oh, whoa. And For me, it kind of like starts off maybe not with like promise. That's the word I put down, like promise, but maybe also like just, you know, heck yeah, let's start in the year on a high, da da da, and towards the end, you're crashing, like a sugar crash, or just after coming off a high or whatever. Is that how like did you envision that on purpose? Are you the type of artist also to maybe leave it open to the listener, or
I definitely also felt and interpret that way, the way that you described, and I think that's the flaw. I mean, that's also just how I live. Is I start the marathon sprinting full speed,
Mm,
um, and yeah, with a lot of hope, but then yeah, you do burn out. That's the flaw of the manic year mentality,
mm,
and I do like have a lot of energy in my songs and my lyrics, but I also talk a lot about being really fucking exhausted and like, can I keep this up? And um, so that is what it is. And I think the idea of like New Year's resolutions starting in January, yeah, you said yeah, like hope. I'm playing with this quote that I love, it's Stephen King says like the most powerful force in the universe is hope or something like that. And you know, I don't have like a lot of faith in the idea of New Year's resolutions, or
Mm.
like saying I'm gonna be perfect now, like I'm gonna exercise, like all these people like buy these gym memberships and then like the new good habits always like fall off. So
Yeah.
I actually have like a tattoo that says New Year, New Me, but New Me's like scribbled out and it just says New Year again. So it's just like New Year, New Year. So
It's definitely honest.
yeah, but yeah, and then as the summer gets hot and you're partying, and then you just get more and more exhausted, and
Mhm.
and then where do you go from there?
Yeah, I think it's a common experience, or at least something I myself have lived through. Telling there's a voice in the back of your head as you go on, going, you can't sustain this. Like this is you better, I don't know, modify something, or this is. But you choose. I mean, a lot of the times, or sometimes, you choose to maybe ignore that voice, or just try to believe in and then like a white lie. Like, yeah, no, we can keep going, and then, but eventually, what goes up must come down. So, so it really is a Manic Year. So this album is kind of like, how when an artist releases what's it called, an eponymous album, like Paramore by Paramore, or
Right.
Deftones by Deftones. This is like your eponymous album, in spirit, then, to me.
Totally. Yeah. I love it
Um,
as that.
do you, now that you've kind of flirted with the concept album, or like doing something with a thread, have you thought about doing something similar in the future with a longer, even like a full LP or something like that?
100%. This was really, really fun and inspiring. And I would like to go even deeper with actual defined characters, named characters, dialogue. Someday I would really love to actually write like a musical that potentially would even get, produced on the stage. And um yeah, I love Hamilton, like being able to tell a story, but it's also catchy and fun, and beautiful. The economy of words, and yeah, like lyrics being delivered with emotion, the way actors do, Um, so I will definitely try to do even bigger and more narrative things, more conceptual stuff. Yeah, as I keep going forward with Manic Year.
Hmm. I'd love to see that. I'm rooting for your musical, one day.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so regarding the 12 months in the album, in the narrative, how deep did you go to kind of put your experience on each like segment of a track? Did you really pull from, did you take your time with each month, or did you kind of pull more from feelings and vibes and past experiences, other people's experiences?
Yeah, I think I sort of did like the fiction writer's approach of like, um, you're telling a story, and I don't know, let's say like the character's devastated or something, and I want to describe what it feels like to be this for this person to be devastated. I will literally like kind of go back and relive moments of my own devastation and like describe that, but just shift the specific details to whatever like the character is experiencing. And so like I I definitely was just like talking about my life for most of this album, you know, as unflattering as that is at parts of it, right? And I think that's also, you know, the cost of good songwriting is, you know, oversharing and being honest. But there's also like you have to make it music, and you have to complete the story. You have to make it also relatable to other people, and accessible.
Sure.
That's, you know, one of my favorite functions of great songwriters is like me listening to their music, and then they're describing something that I've gone through, and then I feel less alone in the universe, and then it's a great comfort in that way. But I think the months were another fun container. I tried to get into the headspace of what those months have always like been to me, and I've always been very sensitive to them, and also sort of like growing up, like the school cycle of like you're in school all year, and then it's like summer, and my birthday is always like was like June 7th. It was always like the weekend before the last weekend of school, so it was just like my birthday and school's out and people are signing yearbooks or graduation, and it's just like there's just so much momentum at the beginning of summer. And I think in retrospect also it was just like the massive like actual like clinical anxiety I had like in school was just like I was relieved of that for like you know like 3 months respite. And so those are like the party months, like, and May is sort of like, you know, the promise of summer, and then June, July is getting hot. July's that track's fun because like I literally like sonically you jump in a pool, and I cut out like all the high frequencies, so it's like sounds kind of like you're underwater, and there's like a water sound effect of like going in and out. So that's another way that like the progress of the, you know, the year informed the album.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that part with now knowing that. Oh, that's so fun. That's really cool. So, sonically, you said before, you also have to like tell the story and translate into music. What influences would you say it has? You know, I mentioned 100 gecs before and house and techno. What is it for you? What does it sound like to you, and where did you pull from?
So definitely 100 gecs is like one of my absolute heroes. Those guys. And Jane Remover, like her recent album like has been on constant repeat for me, and that's like hyperpop trap. And I think that I drew a lot from that in terms of sort of like the sonic bombardment collage, you know, sound effects, kind of explosions that are sort of like mixed in. There's some cool videos of like Jane Remover being interviewed and talking about like all the different samples on her album, like Pokemon cries that like are like added and manipulated.
I love that shit.
Yeah. And there's a couple cool things like that on 365. And then I would say,
Sorry, could you reveal some of that, or is that like
I
are
mean,
those Easter eggs for
anyone? I don't think it's like gonna get me in too much trouble. There's an explosion in, I think it's June, when I'm talking about being a cowboy and getting guns, and that sound is actually I ripped from the game Destiny. There's like a gun called the Ace of Spades, and like when you shoot an enemy, in the head that they explode. And so it's just like a really cool sound. And so, I manipulated it enough where I don't think it's like incriminating to mention that, but like, yeah, there's something sentimental about that, having something that like I like being sort of like tucked in there, and but also adding to the sauce.
Mhm.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, and then like I would say like Brockhampton is
Okay.
like someone I was listening to a lot going into making this, and like I think what I do is on here is rapping at times, but
Sure.
it's my kind of nerdy suburban version of that. Uh, but like I I'm hugely inspired by Brockhampton's kind of just like like experimental like nature experimental approach to pop, like where it feels good, it's really catchy, but in a way it doesn't sound like anything else. um yeah, like
Yeah, I hear that. When Brockhampton came out, or at least came onto the scene, for me personally, it was kind of difficult to um, kind of label like because they were fusing stuff. I mean, obviously there were a bunch of kids, loads of different influences, and they were each doing their own thing, and so I can really see how that would rub off on people, and so yeah, I see that also being an influence on this album too.
yeah, and they got that infamous boy band label, but somehow they were critical darlings at the same time, and that's like
Yeah,
inspiring to me.
yeah. They were kind of like Schrodinger's boy band or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So um, I did an interview a few months ago with another 12-minute album artist called Hatarma, who he said that he made a genre called spunk, which was at its essence, obviously the punk part of the name, but also electronic. And then he personally was like, he grew up on the internet. He was also, he's from Cyprus. So his like worldview and all the stuff he got into musically and etc. was very much informed by the internet. And you just mentioned Brockhampton again, which is a very much internet and Odd Future. We talked about Tyler the Creator as well. Kind of pool, like infinite pool of just weird stuff that just meshes together. Um, can you relate to this? Are you a child of the internet, or at least like how much does the internet itself influence you as an artist? Yeah, as an artist.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question for me, because I'm obsessed with the internet. I'm always on the internet, but at the same time, these people, particularly like a lot of people involved that are making hyperpop, a lot of like, you know, people that have found like queer community spaces
Mhm.
have really found home on the internet,
Yeah.
and that's not something, so always something I envied but never really related to, like
Okay.
having a lot of like friends that you've never met in real life, like logging onto Discord and like, you know, hanging out with people even though, you're not physically sharing the same air.
Mhm.
Um I don't necessarily know why, but like I love to go on Reddit without a Reddit account. Like I love to just sort of, I don't know, for some reason it's I love like consuming and immersing myself in the zeitgeist. And so like that's one reason why I get frustrated with algorithmic platforms, is because like I want to go on Reddit and see what most people on Reddit also see, and like we with our algorithms and our homepages, we get these sort of like bubble universes of
Yeah.
like you only everyone lives in a different reality because of that.
Yeah.
And I do kind of miss like the monoculture of like an MTV or like, you know, boy bands and some of those things, just because, you know, it was fun to have shared pop culture, I guess, in a way that like it's a little more fragmented these days.
Yeah.
But
and and ephemerous. Like something is the zeitgeist for a week, and then the next thing.
totally, yeah. And it's also exhausting to keep up with that, you know.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
exactly. I mean,
yeah.
so yeah, you could kind of look at our current society, like if, like your album, the character or characters you play, if you want to get deep, it could represent like society itself. And you know, we're at some point, I don't know what or when mid-year summer would be, but we're kind of realizing, okay, this is, we don't know how long we're going to keep this up, but we're going to continue to do it anyway. But at some point, we're going to come crashing down. You know,
I
either
love that. That's really cool the way you put that. Totally see that and feel that. Yeah, society is having its manic year,
yeah,
so especially America, and yeah, I also think that there's all the references I make to different movies and stuff is very internety. It's very memey. Um, Particularly like there's the Star Trek Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra. Have you seen like The Next Generation, or you know that?
Well, I used to watch it with my dad,
Sure.
and I can't say that I caught that reference, or I mean, I'd have to go in and remember it and look it up and stuff.
Yeah, no,
But
just
that's really cool to me.
yeah, so just in short, that's basically like the Enterprise encounters a race that speaks only in like bits of history of their culture. And like they don't they have a hard time communicating with it, because like they're trying to say like, why are you trying to fight us? And then this race is like Darmok and Jalada Tanagra. Like they're just like speaking in memes is how like people have described it before. And like I not only is that just like hilarious, and like it has become like a meme. People have like t-shirts that say that and stuff, but like that's also what I do in my music, is like I'm making all these little like, you know, yeah, bits of culture and information and emotion, and just like flashes of like, oh yeah, remember this show? Oh yeah. And then like um yeah, if it was, you have to be an earthling to appreciate my music, right? Like if I'm talking about like shows and things from here, um yeah, it doesn't land if it's translated to, you know, someone from a different galaxy.
Yeah, I wonder how long it'll take for us to just end up like 100% wholly communicating through memes or internet memes. I mean, my brother and I live in different parts of the country. I live in Spain in the northeast, and my brother lives back with our mum in Madrid, in the capital. And the most, like 95% of our communication is dumb
Yeah.
internet reels on Instagram and stuff like that. And then, but also like time, you know, we do write to each other, whatever, on WhatsApp, or but then random voice message with, you know, I don't know if you've seen there's this current wave of memes where it's Elvis, but like fake history facts on him. Like, did you know that this iconic Elvis concert, he just suddenly shot lasers out of his fingers and killed half the crowd, or just like him singing a fake Rick and Morty theme song in his voice. We just reference that all the time, and but yeah, cool Star Trek reference in your album. Going back to the forcing you to make it 12 minutes. Apart from it being a cool thing to work around, and ended up inspiring you to make that that arc, that thread for the album. Did you have anything particularly difficult to deal with, or that you had to overcome in order to just make that 1200?
Yeah, I did cheat in that I made it all the same key, the same BPM, and
I don't consider that cheating. You're good. You're good.
well, I made it easy. I made that part easy for myself, which is also kind of cool because then you can like have it sort of be this incestuous, like have callbacks to motifs and stuff, and so that was one thing that helped me keep going, and then but getting the songs to sort of seamlessly flow into each other, that was something I really wanted to do because it's like the passage of time, but also be separate tracks so that they could function as 1 minute pop songs on their own. Like one thing was like that drove me insane actually was like I started like there's one of the songs that starts with like tell a friend to tell a friend, and the T sound technically like starts before the beat, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
and so like one of the songs was when I did the sushi chef like version where I chopped them all into 1 minute songs. Ended one song ended with just and it just had this
Yeah.
like and it was just like I can't do that. So like I basically turned it into like a percussive sound and just like copy and pasted it, so it becomes this and that was just way more musical to me than just kind of having what sounded like a little, unintentional glitch or something. So stuff like that,
Yeah.
like trying to figure out how to make them sound good to start, end, but also flow into one another.
Mhm. I can relate to the difficulty of edit, like I don't know, whether it be a reel of an excerpt of an interview, or maybe just even part of a song or whatever. That stuff can really be. You can spend more time than you want to on on those kinds of things. But it's cool that you made it even. It gave you more power in what you ended up doing and making it like a percussive element. So yeah, I was just talking with Dante the other day about how restrictions are actually good. Like we often think that if I don't have freedom to do what I want, then it's not going to come up. But actually, time limits and deadlines and restrictions, or even crappy editing software or tools or whatever, kind of then inspires you to be creative, like you were able to do with the to tell a friend.
I totally buy into what you just said. Yeah, I've always thought that way about constraints and creativity. Another thing in that subject in that regard would be like I made the entire like album in one Ableton project because I wanted to have like, well, first of all, be able to always know it was flowing through, and like reverb tails and things would flow through rather than if I exported 1 minute at a time.
Yeah.
However, that ended up growing and growing as I progressed, and there ended up being like I think 100 like vocal tracks, and by the end of it, and it was really the limit of like the CPU of my computer to it took like I would export it. It would take like 30 minutes, which is like so much longer and harder for my computer than any other project I've done. So that was another fun constraint and
Yeah.
thing
Did
that
you
came
did
with
you end
deployment.
up did you end up shaving off parts or eliminate just so you could reduce it because you had other stuff you wanted to add to it after, or did you push it to where it could go?
Yeah, I didn't trim back very much. Yeah, I just sort of let
Okay.
it grow and grow, and yeah, the computer was not happy with me.
Cool. How are you for time? We're going into the final like lightning round, but are you good, or do you need
I'm
to?
chilling. Yeah.
Awesome. Good, good. Then good. I'm really enjoying this
Yeah,
conversation.
man.
So
This is fun.
cool. This is one of the best things about the actual 12 min label that I can just talk to you guys behind the projects and stuff. So the music video for the album or piece, sometimes I just call it a piece because it's an album. It's 12 minutes. Is it an album? Is it an EP? Is it what is it? It's a piece of art, piece of music. Are visuals important to you in general?
Extremely. Art for a song, is something that I obsess over way more than some of my friends that make music. And I would I always judge a book by its cover. Even if it's like some of my favorite books, I'll want to like buy a certain edition because like it's an artifact. It represents, it's a thing that represents what that media made me feel. And so I thought a lot about like definitely the cover image for the album. And then the video, it also became sort of like its own statement and its own beast. So what do you think about the video?
Well, I actually, it was a breath of fresh air for the at least for like, because a lot of the projects every month that have been coming out have been more on the, well, no, because it's kind of it's very eclectic. There's been all sorts of things, but like a pure music video, I'm here. I know you definitely. What's the word? What's the word? There were definitely places where you didn't have permission to film in.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that kind of stuff. I miss that kind of stuff because you can also sometimes you can kind of tell like where are they, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely a if you listen to this album, you at least have to watch it once, and then if you want to listen to it wherever you listen to it, then. But it definitely completes the experience, and I mean, as you were talking about before, it's like the album is basically you pull from you and your own experiences, so you're narrating it as well in that way. But then it's just like a fun, I don't know, music video. It took me back to like, I don't know, to early 2010s. Just kind of interpreting your music, but also, there were some like bravado parts, at least in my mind, where just I'm kind of lost for words now, but
no, those were all very good words. I appreciate that greatly. I think that is it's sort of this push and pull of the ego, like and sort of it's me, it's my face, like worship me, like think I'm cool, but also like that's kind of the joke, because like I'm not a great dancer, and like I am just sort of emoting is like the best way I can describe what I'm doing in that music video, and it is mostly me for 12 minutes. Like I like some people when I was making this were like, so what are you gonna do for the video? And I'm just like, I think I'm just gonna like film myself like dancing, and then they're like, for 12 minutes. So I had to figure out how to like keep that interesting, but in a way it's also like I really think like to me it reminds me of like the scene in Napoleon Dynamite, like when he dances at the end, and it's just this long drawn out awkward, like I don't know, kind of a disaster of just like, but he's loving it, and like he's letting it all just hang out. And like I don't know, I think about the internet, and I think about the way people hide behind anonymity, like there's and are just really fucking like mean and trolly, and like there's the line on the album, the internet is fucking broken, and that's how I feel some ways, because it's like, well, you're just, I don't know, I've people that will potentially like criticize this music video with an anonymous comment that's just sort of offhand, when like the other side of that is all the hours and all the generosity of like sharing myself, and perfectionism and everything that like went into like preparing this thing. And then like some other person is just like wanted to give themselves a little hit of superiority, and so like they say like, you suck at dancing. And like that's one reason why I wanted it to be like, because it's like, yeah, look at me, watch me suck at dancing for 12 minutes straight. And then like other people that suck at dancing might be more willing to dance or something, like I was always inspired by that one Radiohead music video where Tom York just like does his alien interpretive dancing like the entire thing. And yeah, and that's just the whole music video. So yeah, like it's meant to be a little awkward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that concept and what you're, the awkward dancing or whatever in the music video, that adds to the experience of listening to the album. And you can also like the way you're embodying, whichever character who's expressing themselves in the moment in the song, you also convey that through your body and your body language. And yeah, there's some parts where it's also like you can tell when you're being sarcastic and when you're, these different parts in the song. I was getting to a point and I lost it because you brought up, the lotus flower dancing thing. Yeah. The anonymity, so obviously it's brave of anyone who decides to put themselves out there like that. It's definitely brave and definitely adds more to the human experience than just hiding behind a random user, unknown profile and just criticizing something. And I think people who do that as well are most likely also kind of afraid of, if I were to express myself, what would I do? Would it look awkward? Or so it's much easier to just criticize someone else that actually does it, because it's scary to do that, to be vulnerable like that. But also on the other hand, it's just fun. It's a fun watch. It's fun to watch you dance and do that while you listen to the album. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that was the mission.
The 12-minute album. The 12-minute album label. Have you had the chance to listen to any of your other label mates?
So I am not good at listening to instrumental music. I'm very word forward. Like, I mean, it's funny. I've even gone so far as to say like music is just the box that the lyrics are presented in. And it could be a very beautiful box, be a very like Tiffany's jewelry box, like, but I need to check it out more than I have. But I think it was some more like ambient kind of like chill like stuff that I was listening to. And yeah, what would you, knowing what we've talked about so far, like what do you think would be like the one that would click with me the most?
So one with singing and lyrics doesn't come to the top of my head because a lot of it is instrumental, as you pointed out. There is one that with the video as well, I think that you would definitely get something out of, but it's in Spanish. It's one where it's like it goes through a WhatsApp group chat to the sounds of like Afrobeat, electronic music. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting concept. And it's kind of like, so it's like a spoken word kind of thing. But you have to understand Spanish to really get out because what they're talking about and stuff. On the other hand, there's an instrumental one that as you said, short attention span, everything, and there's one that is really in your face. I think it's by Kashka. I think I'll just send it to you without describing it to you because I'm curious as to what your reaction would be. I'd love to do like a
Okay.
reaction,
Yeah.
live with David from Manic Year. Let's react to this. It's I'll just give you those keywords and then we'll see how then you'll see how you react to it. It's very in like without the internet, it wouldn't be possible musically and the video as well. So I'll send that to you.
Those both sound great. Yeah, I'd like to check those out.
Okay. Have you been playing any video games lately?
Yeah. So, well, I play. I was really into like Magic the Gathering and like wanted to go pro for like a year or two, and
It's
I'm
not
still
a cheap hobby.
no. But at least now I can play digitally. So like I've been playing like their arena version of it. And they just came out with like the Final Fantasy cards, which are fun. Loved Final Fantasy. Loved growing up playing those games. It's escaping and to all those worlds. And then like my latest game that I'm like super into is actually some people don't like this game, but it's Stellar Blade, which is it was a PlayStation exclusive at first for the PS5, and that they just brought it to PC, which is what I'm playing on it, and it's sort of like Dark Souls, but if it was in a sci-fi dystopia and your character is like this anime waifu with like a really big butt and but like that's not the reason to play. It's like actually really fun combat and like a cool RPG and good music too. So yeah, it's also just gorgeous like game, like the graphics and stuff. Stellar Blade, yeah. I've been playing that a lot.
All right, I'll have to. I personally don't have a PS5, but I'm the eldest of four brothers. My youngest does have a PS5, so I could get the game and go. Oh no, you said it's out on PC. Okay, I might
Yeah,
actually.
if you have a PC, yeah, it's on Steam.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out for that. Personally, I'm obsessed with lists of things, like my own lists that I've made throughout the years, and going back and doing stuff that I wasn't able to when I didn't have the resources. So I have a PS2 and a TV over there, like a old CRT box.
Dang.
And I've been going through some PS2 games. So I don't know if you remember Gun from 2005.
I do. It's like a yellow cover.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
That one was a classic.
I've been going through that. Yeah. So
Is it hard? Is it hard to find like a PS2 or like those games, or like did you have them?
Yeah. My brothers and I have a PS2, but it kind of works when it wants to sometimes, and it's really frustrating to be in the middle of the level and then just the power goes off and all the saves you didn't save, so you lost everything you did. A good friend of mine lent me his PS2, and I'm currently using that. And then as for games, you can just go on Wallapop, which is, I guess, do you know Wallapop? It's the
Oh, I'm assuming is this like a? Do you buy the actual games, or is this like a ROM? Are they like?
It's like is it like a? I'm not sure what Craigslist is, but it's like a secondhand.
Oh, okay.
App where everyone has everything. So I found it secondhand and got it delivered, and I've been playing a few games secondhand from the 2000s era.
I've thought a lot about like getting a PS2 and going back to that, because I really miss how like there weren't seasons or updates, and like your save file with like your character is just like frozen in time to like when you like log back on, and like there's not like advertisements when you log in, and like I don't know, it's just like games are so much different now than like the pure escape that they used to be, to just like they were, their own passage of time.
Yeah. But I mean, if you can't get your hands on old machines, which could tend to be retro stuff, is sold for a lot of money online as well. So you can just, if you have a PC, emulate. I mean, there's really good emulation on so many different types of old consoles. I played like really old Hideo Kojima games on my PC. I got them to work and emulate. So yeah.
That's fun.
Last couple questions, music related. Firstly, how do you listen to music? Do you do streaming? Do you have physical media? What do you tend to go for?
Yeah, I like Spotify. I just listen to stream from Spotify, and I tried vinyl. I like them as collector's items. I don't believe that there's actually any added audio file benefit to listening to vinyl. It doesn't make scientific sense to me. And it's just so impractical. Like I get it. I also understand like the intention of we're going to put on a whole album and listen to it without skipping. Like, yeah, that's cool. But like, I just, yeah, I'm just so interested in so many different artists and just hopping around and hopping in and out. And like, yeah, there were times when like growing up as a kid, like I bought a CD, like we said, I'd judge the book by its cover. It had a really cool cover. And then I brought it home and like, it was a shitty CD. And like, all right, well, I'm still going to listen to this because it's like I paid for it, you know, you can kind of just be more bobbing and weaving through different genres and different stuff with streaming. That's one of the benefits of it. I know there's a lot of flaws, but yeah, I like that. I like that I can take it with me anywhere. It doesn't take up any space. And I also like sort of like similarly to like wanting to see Reddit the way that everyone else does. Like I like consuming Spotify, thinking of like that's how other people are consuming music, and a lot of people, at least, like probably the majority, but being a participant in that, like seeing, oh, this is what it looks like on Spotify, or like this is what my stuff sounds like with the Spotify, limiting and stuff like that. So yeah,
like an added community aspect to it.
sure, yeah. It's like easy to share songs on Spotify. You just like copy a link and text it to somebody. Do you use Spotify?
So yeah, I do. I think I probably use YouTube more. I use like whatever is available if I'm on my phone, or I don't have premium Spotify, but log in via Facebook. That's what I use Facebook for these days, just to log into Spotify. And but I don't do the playlist thing. I actually, again, as I have lists of stuff that I've been meaning to get to my whole life, so I intentionally look for the stuff that I want to listen to. But I do use streaming, yeah.
Do you also do a vinyl? Was I
No, no, no.
sacrilegious in my?
Please, not at all. I'm so grateful for the age we live in.
Yeah.
I used to grow up going to record shops and being like, I don't have enough money to buy all the music I want. And so I am glad that I have unlimited access to any and everything. But on the other hand, we've also kind of lost the a part of it. You said it's got its flaw, like you said, it's got its flaws as well. The intention of listening to something, I'm going to listen to this now from start to finish, and I can see like all that is cool. But yeah, I think there's moments where I want that, and then there's other moments where it's like I really want to listen to the whole Paramore discography, so I'm going to do that over the course of this week, and I can do that thanks to YouTube and Spotify. So
Yeah.
yeah, do you go through albums as well, or do you jump to?
I usually will find like my favorite songs, and then yeah, I like one of my favorite things to do is just shuffle like all my liked songs, or just go through my like recently liked. But there's certain albums, Eden's, in case you missed it, like is like one that I just like will listen to all the way through, like any day. There's these guys, Brev and Kim. It's like two brothers, and like they have a album. I think it's called High School Football, and I will just like put that on, and it's just like it's better as a whole. So yeah, I will definitely dive into albums for sure. And appreciate it for that. Or just sometimes it's nice because it's all like that flavor, you know, like you're just like you're into that vibe, and it's not gonna like switch to like a completely different genre. And
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like the difference between going to a restaurant and going to a buffet, right? When I go to a buffet, I take pizza and noodles and vegetables and all sorts of stuff that doesn't mesh, but it's there and I want to try it all, so I put all that on my plate. I guess that's how we listen to music these days.
Yeah.
But speaking of albums, you mentioned a few. Final question is the Desert Island Discs question. If you had only 4 that you could take with you, which 4 would you take?
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna repeat some of the ones I've dropped, which would be, Jane Removers. I think it's called Professional Revenge, the new the Jane Remover album. It's just so weird and complex and hype that like it just doesn't get old to me. So that would be one of them. Eden. His album. I see. In case you miss it, I see. YMI is just also so sonically rich and emotional, yet like doesn't wear on you. Or I think that's the other like challenge of pop music, is like to be catchy but not like in that nauseating, like you get sick of hearing that song at the grocery store kind of like earwormy way, like, but just like right in that sweet zone of like, just feels good but isn't like annoying. And then High School Football by Brevin Kim. Amazing, just relaxes me, but also has just like some really cool sounds. It's a really good like auto-tune production, but also with like acoustic guitar and stuff like that, and a very chill approach to that. So that's 3. And then I'll say Charlie XCX's Brat, because like, you know, you got to have one of those to just like turn up and get bratty. And that's also like a very emotional and like experimental album too. So that would probably be, I'd probably be fine, you know, on the desert island with those. I'd probably be happier.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, David.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Do you have a message for the good people out there you'd like to leave with us?
Everybody, just don't be a jerk and chill the fuck out.
Amen. I love it.
Yeah. All right, Axe. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time and your music and your album. Looking forward to the Manic Year written, composed, and produced musical.
Yeah. On Broadway someday.
Oh yeah.
Talk how I want, won't get lame to get famous.
End of the year, made a mess, but I made this.